Okay, this is him. This is Zippy, for those of you who've been waiting. We got him on Sunday after Gio's wedding. He's wondering what the hell is going on. It's actually the first time he's been in the cave, because no videos last few days, because Gio's wedding. Then we went and got the Zipmeister, didn't we? Yeah, we went and got Zippy, and now he's thinking, what the hell is in here? So there you go. I thought you might like to see him. There he is. Say hello. Mwah. He's lovely, and yes, I know he's 8 weeks old. I know he's huge. He's going to be big. He's going to be about 35 kilograms, I think. So there you go. So, mwah. There you go, mate. You take him. Right. Anyway, shut that door after you, please. Right then. Okay. Those are the pleasantries over and done with. He certainly knows how to shut a door, doesn't he? Right, okay, so we're back to business. We had a lovely, lovely wedding. Gio's wedding was magnificent. It was, honestly, I'm not just saying this because I know I watched the video, but it was one of the best weddings I've ever been to. Really great occasion. Great people, great grub. Really good, really good. Obviously, we've got the puppy, and we're very, very happy with him as well. But the wedding was at exactly the same time as the game against Everton. I say exactly the same time. Probably started about... it kicked off at 2:30, the wedding did, and obviously the match kicked off at sort of 3:30. So by the time all the vows and the ceremony and everything had been done, there was some drinks laid on afterwards, and that was the point when everyone started saying, "Oh no, what's going on here? Let's have a little go. What's going on here?" We were just having a crafty little look, so you're sort of relying on stats and things like that, and it was 0-0, and then a little while later it was 0-0, and you're looking and thinking, hold on a second. Didn't look great. You were looking at sort of an even-Steven game. Maybe at the points we were looking at it, two bad teams, and Everton had slightly the more of it, particularly in terms of shots and attempts at goal. Funny enough, I did manage to see it later on Match of the Day. And I had to laugh really, because Alan Shearer was complaining that he'd been made to watch it twice. I thought, oh my word, that must be bad. Now we had some friends turn up after the dinner. So it's not called a dinner; it's called a wedding breakfast. I don't know why. Anyway, so we sat down and had our wedding breakfast at 5 o'clock, whatever it might have been. And then after that, when the old disco time and time for dancing and time for drinking, a load of our mates turned up, obviously all West Ham fans. Now, they had watched the game, so we were sort of trying to pick their brains and say, what was going on, what happened? I think Jeff might have said, he might have said Somerville was our best attacker and best defender. Oh, hold on, that doesn't sound great. I think Tony said that Sue Foward added something to the attack when he caught on. I thought, how much have I had to drink here? Is this true? This sounds a little bit weird. Anyway, the general... I don't know if you can hear Jakey's there saying oi to the puppy. The general consensus was that it was crap. And the people were saying, well, you've missed... What a good game to miss. Sort of 0-0 draw, two terrible teams. It was a good game to miss, so a good day to have the wedding on it, irrespective of the wedding itself. In West Ham terms, it was a good day to have the wedding on. Obviously, got back and I've explored a little bit more, watched Match of the Day, watched the extended highlights on the West Ham website as well. And yeah, I've got to be honest with you, it wasn't so much that. I watched all of Match of the Day and Match of the Day 2 as well. And I think if there's one thing I took away from it, it's just how far West Ham have fallen. This gap that seems to have emerged. Now, I'm looking at the table at the moment, and all the teams that are above us, at the moment, I wouldn't put us to finish above any of them. And I mean any of them. Not Man United, not Brentford, not Fulham, Bournemouth, none of them. I can't look at a single team that's above us and think, well, we could probably catch them. Now, I think we're past the point of saying it's early days as well, with regard to Lopetegui. And I couldn't help but, when I was watching the highlights of Brentford, Bournemouth, watched that. I mean, Fulham were just so impressive as well. We knew they were impressive. I mean, let's not pretend that it's just Lopetegui. Fulham were pulling our pants down. And Fulham have become better than us last season, by the way. Let's just get that absolutely right. But I just thought, we're a million miles away from these teams. And it's really weird because a lot of these teams are sort of modernised and become quicker, more efficient. Some ruthless counter-attacking going on at pace as well. And I guess two of the teams that have not sort of kept up or have regressed. Well, we've regressed. Everton, I guess, have sort of stayed where they are West Ham and excuse me, I'm not choked up. I wasn't going to cry about it. West Ham and Everton. And I just thought, well, it's sort of quite telling that would play out against, two teams that are not really contesting it with the top lot in the Premier League. When I mean the top lot in the Premier League, I guess I mean everyone else that's above us. And I know that's a weird thing to say, because mathematics would probably tell you that's the case anyway. I mean, I look at there's certain clubs below us. I don't look and think Leicester would finish above us. I think not. Certainly not Ipswich. Certainly not Southampton. So I don't think we're in peril, so to speak. But I have to say, I looked at Wolves. Wolves got a good victory as well. But sometimes I watch Wolves play, and I'm not just saying this now because they won. I did say it before. If you look at some of the previous videos, they could go on a little run. I don't mean a run where they win 6 games in a row or anything like that. We've just got to go on a little run and be half decent, and they could catch us up and finish above us. So there's no doubt in my mind about that at all. I'm just wondering number one, how it happened. That's not going to be a deeper, meaningful video in that sense. How did these clubs get so far ahead of West Ham, particularly when you think of the success that West Ham have had? And I think it was quite possibly when... I remember David Moyes saying last season, I remember doing a video on it, and we'd lost to Aston Villa. And David Moyes was going about, what a great club Aston Villa are and how well they've done things. And basically, he alluded to the fact that, almost you could write off victories against Aston Villa because they were a big club, they were brilliant, they were impressive. And I thought, well, they weren't. When Moyes came in, they were in the Championship, weren't they? I'm not sure my timing's exact, but it's precise. It's roughly there. Might not be precisely there. But I think when Moyes came in for his second stint, Aston Villa either were in the Championship or had just been promoted. We were above them. We were better than Aston Villa. And I remember saying at the time, hold on, how's that equate in Moyes' mind? How can Moyes look and think, well, hold on a second, he shouldn't really have dared to say it. He shouldn't have even been saying that, because he should have been embarrassing for him. That during his time at the club, Aston Villa had overtaken him to such an extent that this Championship club, and I know Aston Villa historically are not a Championship club, but this club that had come from the Championship, it was now deemed, acceptable to write off points against Aston Villa. And I look at that now, and I just think Aston Villa are now so far gone. It's not even the likes of them. It is everyone else. It is Fulham, West Ham. You think London clubs and all the rest of it. It would be very, very hard to not make the case that West Ham are 5th best at the moment, and that's just in terms of London clubs. And I think it was just quite embarrassing, really, watching. I'm not embarrassing. There's no, there's no one watching me watching Match of the Day, so it can't be embarrassing. But I don't know, a little bit gutting, really, to not see any glimmers, to not see any hope, to not see a progression, to not see a style of play or a methods going forward, really. And I still hear some people saying it's early days. I don't think it is. I think in a traditional sense, when managers get 4 or 5 years at a club, and when, quite possibly there wasn't the money in the game that there is now, quite possibly you could say that a manager might take a few months to get settled. I just don't think it's an excuse anymore. Not when there's other people, other new managers looking so good. And as I say, I'm looking at Fulham and I'm looking at Brentford. I can't even consider us to even... Villa and Brighton are so far gone, it's almost impossible to compete with them. There's been something really bad happen to allow that to happen. There's no doubt about it. And I think that was quite telling in the language. And I am, for obvious reasons, as you know, wedding, puppies, I'm playing catch-up here. You're a few days ahead of me on all this stuff. But I think it was quite telling that it was very much put out there that the club was still disappointed with it, actually. Things have got to improve for me. And that draw is not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. 2 weeks now. 2 weeks. 2 weeks to get things sorted out. And a tough place to go. But it was always going to be that. And that's why we couldn't... That's why it couldn't be the case that we did, badly in our last couple of games. Because we were always going to have to go away to St James's Park. That is going to be really, really tough. November 25th. Really tough. But it is. It's almost like watching a different. it's like watching a different league. It's like watching almost a different style of football. It's weird watching West Ham and watching Everton, and then watching how these other teams are playing. So efficient, so fast, so brutal in pretty much everything they're doing. They seem to be operating at a far higher level than we're operating on. I'm just wondering where the hope, where the glimmer is going to be. I'm not even talking about competency here. I'm talking about glimmer, and I'm talking about hope. We're a million miles away from competency, it seems. Anyway, there you go. Just my thoughts on sort of the weekend and the fallout afterwards. Having, as I say, didn't take in the game. I watched a bit of Match of the Day, read some of the fallout. Had a look at some bits and pieces, and listened to people that I trust, whose opinions I trust on West Ham, who did watch the game in its entirety, and they all seem to be of the same opinion. Two poor teams. You missed a good one. Well, you picked a good one to miss, not you missed a good game. That much is clear. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm sure I'll discover a little bit more in the next day or two. And let's be fair, we've got a couple of weeks to discover an awful lot more. And really, I think a couple of weeks for Lopetegui to get a cohesive and coherent plan. I think once again, I know Bowen's been called up, but once again, I think he's got his whole back line there for 2 weeks. There's no excuses. I know he got a clean sheet, and I know he did. But people were saying before the game that Everton are lacking a strike, and they don't know how to score a goal. It's really hard not to make that comparison about West Ham as well. But maybe anyway, that's Fulkrug, that's Antonio going over Jamaica. That is a subject for another day, and you can be sure we'll discuss it.